Isn't it interesting? I remember when he was talking about, I had players for the Broncos, and this really was before you got here. This was late 70s, early 80s, when Lyle Alzado was kind of the poster boy for using steroids with the Broncos. And a player told me, Dave Studdard, I'll mention him, he doesn't mind if I mention him. Dave Studdard said, they tell you when they're going to test 2 times a year. He said they weren't trying to prevent steroids. They were trying to prevent you. They were trying to tell people they were doing something about steroids. He said, but when they alert you, if someone called you and said, we're coming to your house tonight to see if you have drugs in your house, what would be the thing you'd do? If it were
flush them down the toilet, throw them out the window,
I mean,
bury them in the backyard.
Something, you know, you'd throw them out the car window or something, you know, into a field. And so baseball and football, major sports, were actually going along with the program. Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa changed baseball. Baseball had a strike. It was trying to get people back, young fans involved. I was there in the forefront going on the road with the 2 of them going, wow, this is the greatest thing that ever happened to baseball. And it was, during that period of time, home runs, and then Barry Bonds got upset that they were getting all the attention, so he went on steroids. That was actually good for baseball. It was not good for people who didn't want people to use steroids.
And the other thing people have to remember is there was nothing in the baseball bylaws, nothing in the rules and regulations that said using that stuff was illegal. What bothered baseball, 2 things. Number one, they were procuring those steroids illegally. A lot of baseball players, people don't know this, would go to places like San Diego and cross over the border into Mexico and get these prescription drugs illegally, or they were being administered to them by doctors and pseudo-doctors illegally.
Sure.
And then they were distorting the records because of the use. And that's
they
where
were
baseball,
also going to elderly people who could who needed to take steroids. And if you offered an elderly person $50,000 and said, "Can I have your stock of steroids?" most cases they'd give them to them. So I mean, there were a lot of. That's why there was such a good point about that. You know, to me in the playoffs, I was much more bothered by that ineligible, eligible. That was trying to violate the rules. You know, the football, as you've maintained all along, who cares? It was such a vague gray area. Big deal.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if Jason Noddy was advocating that there just not be any rules.
No, I think he just says you can't go back.
You
can't go back and say, okay, you violated the rules, even though we weren't so strict in enforcing the rules.